Deploy squad.
Alright then. Team.
Deploy for what? You never told us what to deploy for.
Well, we're deploying into the giant acid-filled caverns.
Oh jeez.
What's the part number?
Oh, a giant spider.
Part 10.
I think he wants a hug.
Okay, maybe it's not a spider. It looks more like a giant face hugger.
It looks like a face. It looks like a hand. With
Oh,
a face
see,
in
he's
it.
just a bit shy. Come on.
It's like those. It's like those creepy characters in cartoons. Face in it.
So, alright, so
What's the
here's how you-
strategy?
Here's the basic gist of how you fight a corpse. You have to shoot, but only at the parts that are vulnerable, specifically the parts that have because all those legs, yeah, they're armored, so don't bother. So basically, here's what you do: you shoot the bottom part of its body, of its main body, like that, and then it will go like that, and then you shoot into its face.
It's got quite a
Every time you do
scream
so-
to it.
Every time you do so, it will fall back, as you just saw. What you do there is you destroy these little blocks, so you can drop the bridge and have it fall into the acid. Oh yeah, and there's and Wretch is also attacking. Fortunately, don't worry, Dom has got it covered. I hope.
I hope.
So I guess this fight works a bit like Crocomire in Super Metroid. You just need to push the beast back into a place where he needs to fall.
We're gonna say Superman for a second.
Yes, totally, Lives.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, how fast would this game swap me over if Superman just invades? Something just came like, did I not want to invade?
Depends. Do these aliens bleed kryptonite?
Well, that's
No, they don't bleed kryptonite, Joe, but they bleed, what's the opposite of kryptonite?
Blue kryptonite?
There we go.
Yeah, yes. They bleed blue kryptonite. It doesn't kill Superman, but
It makes him
extremely
stronger.
thirsty.
Well, okay, but
I was gonna say it makes him really thirsty.
let me check what the effects of blue kryptonite are.
also this. That's basically the climax of Justice League, where the Justice League is having their asses handed to them, and Superman comes in and basically saves their asses.
Okay, essentially what blue kryptonite does, it actually heals Superman.
But I wanted to tell you,
Although, funnily enough, in the show Smallville, they made it that it suppresses Kryptonians' powers and removes their sensitivity
gotta be
to
kidding
green
me.
kryptonite. Oh, it can
No,
also
it
purify water, too, in that show.
no worry, Taylor. He's just trying to make a desperate one. There we go.
And Marcus wasn't impressed how badass.
That's how.
Oh my
badass
god, Tio, he is like Crocomire. Even makes a desperate attempt to try and get you after being pushed in.
Just in
Watch
time.
Wouldn't be
out, it's
surprised
up for
if it-
something.
Wouldn't be surprised if Epic Games wanted to be cute and reference that.
By having his corpse come out.
Yeah, that's it. Resonator. For some reason, I keep calling it a phone.
Sun's coming up soon.
Resonator, bomb, both will probably blow things up.
No, actually don't. Resonator is about creating a little map for Jack so they can send to control the basic map of all of the Locust tunnels so we can find the heart of the tunnels and go straight to it and drop a big bomb there.
And then we
Yeah,
blow it
remember,
up,
we
okay.
stopped the entire Jeep truck thingy outside just to get here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ah, a soldier fall into the cause.
Yeah, basically there's an invisible wall now here, and I can't get to this box of ammo.
Marcus, are you having trouble getting that box?
That's quite immersion breaking, but whatever.
What's in the box?
Oh, you can't
What's
even...
in the-
Well, I'm guessing ammo. This is an
Hopefully.
ammo box. Alright, moving on. Don't worry, Bear, we're coming.
hut.
Yeah, this is the only way you have of running in this game. Just hold A and we'll do this, boo, 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 boo.
You
It's
can even.
called-
I'm
the
surprised
game
there's
calls
not.
it. The game calls it Roadie Run.
I'm surprised there's not like a stamina mode, considering how you hear, your character panting heavily still. So you do wonder if you.
Not necessary.
No, I actually don't mind. If anything, I think lots of games these days overuse the stamina system for running.
Yeah, there's certain games where I don't really get the need
Tip
for
of the
that.
iceberg.
Hey, Marcus.
What even is this acid substance? Someone's piss?
Don't think I can.
Radioactive piss by the looks of it.
Yeah, it's glowing like important.
It's
It has to make some people names sound cool and radioactive to it.
Alright. Well, okay, saying this out of context doesn't spoil anything. It's lamp and blood. Well, that's all I'll say for now.
Of course.
Okay,
I know what that means, but I won't spoil it.
good job. Anyway,
Checkpoint.
There it is.
There we go. We found the pump
Here's a
station.
plan.
Or rather the
We're going straight in.
yeah, pumping.
Hold,
That's it. Pumping.
Baird, you
For
two
some reason,
flank right,
I keep
provide support.
I always have the instinct of calling it
Protect
power
that
station since
resident.
it's usually always a power station in games.
Subversion.
steal people the iceberg.
It's nice of them to remind us the name of the chapter or section or
Yeah,
act.
the way it works is the part that's in big letters, that's the name of the act. The subtitle that's in smaller letters, that's the name of the chapter within the act.
The thing is, we got that to the people of the iceberg beat not too long before ended, so wonder why they repeated it
Well,
immediately.
we're not here to sell cookies.
No,
Something's up.
no, you
Come
fool!
on,
The
let's
XCR
go,
here to sell
Marcus, you could do a
cookies.
good
They're the
action
Girl
sometime.
Scout faction of the Locusts.
Hello, we're selling Deer Scout cookies.
Would you like them in blood flavor, piss flavor, or our favorite green goo flavor? You don't want to know where the green goo comes from.
Grape jelly and mustard.
Oh yeah, another. Oh, speaking of the whole pink or blood thing, that's the thing too. From what I've checked into, apparently during most of Gears 4, we're fighting robots. So basically, there's very little gore in there.
Okay, the thing I will say this is that until I know about the lore and anything, if I recall correctly, one problem that people had with the original trilogy is that every game tried to be like, oh, this is totally the end of the Locust, and then they show up for the game after. So I guess by the time of Gears 4, we wanted to have an idea of trying to find a different kind of opponent to spice things up. But again, I will need to see it for myself.
That's the thing too. They kind of already do that. The climax of Gears 2. I'm not gonna spoil anything.
Well,
but they
I
kinda do
did mention to you in the previous part that if I recall correctly, one of the countdowns that I watched described the final boss, I think, of Gears 2 as a very bad final boss fight.
Yeah, it's not the best.
It's
but,
not the best, but I wouldn't call it terrible.
Me neither, to be honest.
Well, okay, I only do time.
Oh, yep.
I actually prefer it over the final boss of the final boss. Well, technically, that's the thing. That's the thing. Gears 3 doesn't. Sorry. Not Gears. Well, see, here's the thing too. Gears 2 doesn't technically have a final boss. Instead, it has a set piece section where you're controlling a Brumac. In case you don't know what a Brumac is, a Brumac is a gigantic locust with a gun on its head, and you can actually control it, and it's really fun. And then later, when you actually do fight the final boss proper, it's a very simple thing where you just keep pointing the Hammer of Dawn at it. Really,
Think of it like a final encounter.
It barely passes as a boss. It's not so much that it's bad. It's more so that it's just a very simplistic. It's more like an interactive cutscene than anything.
Well, it's like I said, I consider it more like a final encounter, like was in a final, pretty much, a final act of sorts.
What you were gonna say? They control a broomstick. It suddenly becomes Harry Potter or something.
Yes, totally.
Well, I mean,
Maybe in Gears Pop.
yeah. If they pull a, what's the series that had a spin-off? What's the name of a famous series that had a spin-off game that was absolutely nothing like the other games in terms of tone and everything else?
Metroid.
There's plenty actually.
I meant like doing the Briggs. Well, I mean, to clarify, for example, what if it was like the rest of the games are like gritty war dramas, but the next one's like a K-pop
Bomberman at least.
Well,
yeah, like Bomberman.
Bomberman Act Zero.
Metroid also applies because Federation Force is a completely different tone,
Also,
but I get what you
Pinball.
mean.
Don't forget Metroid Pinball.
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah, here's the thing. In Gears 5, it'll be the usual gritty war stuff, but in Gears Party, all the characters will suddenly just it's like they're filming a scene for the next Gears game, but the director says "and cut," then they all take off their costumes and go into the next room to start dancing, and it's like a party game with the other characters.
So sort of power to the elevator, and we just have to put the resonator, and we're finished.
And voila!
Because reasons.
Go ahead, Bear. Set it up.
Let's go.
And then it's a trap.
Get ready for a surprise.
And it targets them. Hey, at least wait for me to get on the lift, you ass.
Don't worry, we knew you would
Oh no,
make
it's
it.
Stab Step.
You're like those bus drivers. That don't
He's
even let
dropping
you
the base.
You're like those bus drivers that don't even let you sit down before they start moving.
Wrong.
Wow, we got out amazingly quick, all things considered.
I almost lost my knife that I never use in combat.
So why were you so torn up about nearly losing it then?
Maybe we should have worn our helmets for this. Oh wait, no, then the audience wouldn't see our
Control,
faces
this
and we'd be
Delta. We're clear.
toast.
Wait, what did they use? Resonator. Is that an EMP?
Yeah.
Hold on, you'll see.
Okay, so if it's an EMP, their equipment wouldn't be working
So we
at all.
going back to base? I guess so. Good, cause I'm done.
I'll tell you, I'm done with this after this one. This is my last mission,
game's
guys.
totally over, guys.
Yep, sure. How many parts are left, baby?
Oh, it didn't work!
What do you
More
mean
6
it
parts
didn't
after this.
work?
I love how we go right into his eye.
What do you mean it didn't work?
Or did Ben fuck up or something?
You'll see.
Flashback time. So it was resonating, it EMP'd, but then...
Was that a range?
It wasn't powerful enough.
Well,
Turns out the tunnels go way further than we ever thought.
yeah, I just love these missions. The one where you accomplish your aim and it means shit.
Well, we did get some of it, though.
What is?
Yeah, to be fair, we actually wasn't completely pointless.
Shut up and look at it. Look, those are Locust tunnels, Phoenix. You know I'm right.
Barrett found a little device that has the
Popped
map
on
of it.
screen when I hacked in. The files were there.
Phoenix, report.
Anya, are you seeing this?
Affirmative. And Private Barrett is correct. That geobot is showing more tunnel data than the Resonator.
This is bullshit.
Cole just says it like it is.
Sir, well, it came from East Barricade Academy. From his father's house, specifically.
Dun dun dun.
Sergeant Phoenix, sir.
Oh, snap.
You can still find your way back home, Phoenix.
Yes, sir.
Reroute those choppers, Lieutenant. They're
Uh-oh.
In the meanwhile,
Hey
this
there.
Ram, yes, it's the name of this guy, Ram.
Yeah, General Ram.
General Ram is gonna kill this nameless soldier that we never know who it is, so I don't really
We need to remember that he's evil, just to know.
Yes,
Oh,
yes, the villain is evil. Thank you, Shukame. I needed
God,
that reminder. Thank
I
you.
will
Yeah,
mention
yeah,
this more
it's
after
so
the
far.
campaign.
So far, the villains here are like MCU, like majority MCU team.
I'm evil.
You're not my type.
There we
Yeah,
go.
yeah, that's it. Where their only characteristic is that they're evil.
Yeah, Command wants us to get this shit locked down ASAP so we can move to new location.
I mean, if
Uh-oh.
I'll bet you guys, by Gears 4, we'll move on to the next tier, villain, MCU villain in suit tier.
What's that, phase 2? Oh, never mind, in suit tier.
Yeah, where ties and all that shit.
Oh, I thought you meant when they finally put on the costume, but yeah, that too.
Well, just wait till Gears 3, because Gears 3 is a special DLC mini-campaign where you play as General Ram.
The top tier being
Not just that,
Top tier teams being Michael B. Jordan,
Oh,
Bill
Campbell's
and
Grinder, the long road
Farris.
home.
Act 4, the long road home.
Oh yeah.
Not just that, Losers and Wibs, believe it or not, General Ram was actually chosen as the Gears character to participate in the more recent Killer Instinct game. Basically, the more recent Killer Instinct game, in order to spice up things with its Season 3 characters, since its roster was practically complete at that point, decided to spice things up, add a couple of extra characters from IPs that Microsoft owned. So we got one of the Battletoads, Rash, the Arbiter from Halo, and the General Ram from Gears.
Please, yeah,
Fascinating.
after seeing how Capcom was pricing up Street Fighter 5, that's nothing now.
Wibs, that's not a good comparison because Street Fighter 5 is still having its main roster. It would be another thing you could say it's a character from another IP in a mainline Street Fighter game. Which the closest I can tell you is that I forgot which specific character it is, but it's basically a huge reference to the Strider franchise. Or Street Fighter 5 at least.
Alright, so basically, yeah, turns out there's something, so we need to go back home, aka back to Marcus's home, because apparently his dad has something in there that we need. It always goes back to Marcus's dad.
Good old parental lineage.
Plot twist, it turns out his dad is behind the whole thing.
Well, I can tell you he's not this, now that I'm played through half.
Wait, Pedro. We should know how this goes. By Gears of War 5, they'll reveal that, actually, in retrospect, his father was behind it the entire time. And they'll spend most of the story going on that until it's revealed, oh, you silly Billies, he wasn't actually behind it. We were just trying to get your hype. Yeah,
or it'd be like Alone in the Dark or something.
Well,
whereas, like, he was helping the aliens along with getting their blood and all that stuff.
Maybe that's gonna be it, Jova. Maybe the promotional material for Gear 6 is gonna talk about Marcus is gonna be a villain now.
Oh, and it's up to you as
Honestly,
Laura Bailey's character to take him in.
Considering how much backlash there was with the idea of Master Chief being a villain for Halo 5, I don't think Microsoft would be so stupid to try this again with another IP.
That's the thing, though, Tio. You'd be surprised. Microsoft tend to repeat a lot of mistakes that they make for some reason.
Well, not of this kind of caliber. You can argue that yes, we will find another way to make a contrived excuse to not having Marcus be playable or giving an excuse to be on a bench or something. But probably not to make him, to paint him a villain or something.
It's abundantly clear. That's the thing. It seems to me abundantly clear that the Coalition is way too invested in their own OG characters rather than the original Delta Squad.
And I'm like,
Yeah,
you know what? You wanna pimp out your. I mean, no, maybe not pimp out, but okay, you wanna develop your own characters. That's fine. But don't do it at the expense of characters people know and love, because you're clearly just using them to get fans on.
Having the sequels done by the Coalition, trying to be these, advanced up with the stories and treating the OG cast the way they are. Mostly in a sense that why can't they happen to be just side stories? In a sense, really, hear me out a bit on this. Again, this is a story that involves the entire planet. It's on a global scale of things. So I can perfectly imagine side stories happening around other parts of the globe.
Tom?
Let's have a polite conversation, Pedro.
Apparently, up close and personal.
You don't talk with Locust here. We killed him.
Damn it. Apparently didn't work. Don didn't get the memo. But no, I can easily see Gears 4 and 5. I don't know how Judgment was working as a side stories on the sidelines, without not even having to reference the main, having the OG cast show up. Maybe having something like com chats or something like that. That way, again, the Coalition can have their cake of having their own original cast do not steal, and need it too by having it work for a proper story. I don't know.
Control, this is Delta, confirming 6-4 report. First drop zone aborted. We are at East Barricade. I repeat, East Barricade, over.
Copy that, Delta. Be advised, there are survivors.
Oh.
Is there a cutscene
That's our first
where
stop. What's
where
the
they're doing the
situation on the
whole
ground?
walking away from a helicopter and yelling orders at each other bit?
The street.
Well, Glibs, there's actually a point in the there's actually a specific objective in Gears 2 that literally says get to the chopper. So does that count?
So, choose a path.
guess.
Left path or right path.
We'll take both. Baird, you're with me. Cole, Dom.
So yeah, here's an interesting thing. In each segment, you'll actually get to have a little quality time with each of your 3 main members here. Like,
Depending
the
on the
last time
choice.
was us with Dom, and now we're doing this time with Baird.
Exactly, yeah. Well, to follow up on what Teo was saying, that's the thing, Teo. I can only speak for myself as someone who has played for the entirety of the first 2 games and is halfway through the 3rd right now. Keep that in mind. Me personally, the main reason why I don't really want them to drop the Delta Squad yet is because I want these characters to be more properly fleshed out again in the actual games. Like we got Cole being fully fleshed out in 3. That's awesome. Well, can we have more of that for the other characters?
Yeah, it really would be nice if they could do that, while also again presenting a new character. It's perfectly possible to do both.
It's like the best example I can think of is the reason to me it felt natural to have the Lady Layton era is because after 6 games, let's face it, after 6 games, we pretty much we got every bit of story we could have possibly gotten from the OG cast of Layton. I mean, we got the entirety backstory of Herschel, Luke.
Again, I argue that in terms of backstory for the Professor himself, it's relatively irrelevant. What matters is actually what the location is entailed and the characters tied to it. You can always pull a Murder She Wrote and say, oh, this is an old friend of Professor, and he has his backstory
But
tied.
Pedro, what you saying? We need a level 5 Origins Herschel, where we find out where he got his top hat and jacket.
Didn't we already find out where he got his top hat from?
Yeah, we already have an entire game dedicated to what the hat signifies to him.
Well, we can have it again.
Wouldn't
No,
that
there's
be
no
nice?
red
But this
code.
time,
well,
we retcon everything.
Well, the basic point that I was trying to make to we had we have the 5th game, which entirely explains his teenage years. So we basically got as much story out of those characters as we really needed. Really, we fleshed out those characters immensely over the course of 6 games, and that was enough. By the time we got to the Layton era, to me at least, it felt natural to start a new era of characters because we're pretty much done with the old one. But yeah, it's about time we move on to something else. With this, I don't feel it's over, really. I don't feel that the need to start a whole new era with new characters. We can still do a lot more with these characters.
I think a good comparison is the new era of Ace Attorney games, which for the majority have good reception. Like, Dual Destinies back when it first came out not only had to bring Phoenix back into the fray, but also brought us a new character, Phoenix Sights, but also continued the development of Apollo Justice. And needless to say, most fans will agree that Apollo's character finally gets to shine in Dual Destinies here, while also developing Athena Sykes, a completely new character. Like, that's what I wish the new Gears games could do. Like, sure, develop their new characters, but don't leave the old ones out to dry before we've gotten as much character development as we could of them.
No, Jeremy, we need. No, what would have made Ace Attorney 5 better?
If Phoenix died and was replaced by, I don't know, Trucy.
No. If it turned out to be a prequel, then we figure out why Phoenix Wright chose the colour blue for his suits.
Of course.
No.
It turns out Phoenix chose the colour blue because it represents how sad he was.
Oh god, yeah.
I agree with Joe, but one of the cool thing about the 3DS games that they did a really good job in still having Phoenix be in a major role and giving him some new stuff for him to do without having to rehash anything from the original trilogy. While at the same time, finally fleshing out Apollo's character, thank you, and bringing in Athena Sykes, who's my favorite female character of the series, actually.
Like, that's
So-
3 whole layers of different sort of characters you have to work with. The old ace of a series, the new upcoming guy who needs more development, and a completely new face. Like
Not to
that's
mention, not to mention, if you ask me, the best prosecutor we've had since Edgeworth.
Simon Blackwell. Yeah.
In fact, what I just said about Phoenix, why, if the people running Ace Attorney were insane, that's probably what they would do. You make a game where it's just like, hey guys, let's make a case where we find out why our protagonist chose the primary colours that they wear. Apollo wore red because he's angry at stuff. Athena chose yellow because she's always sick for whatever reason.
Isn't yellow more the color of fear?
And Simon Blackwell chose black for his suit because his name was Blackcliff.
But yeah, again, it just goes to how much missed opportunity there is with the new Gears games. Like, okay, even if they were arguably good, and to some, yes, they are good, you can't deny that there's a lot of missed potential here, and it's like, maybe if they didn't insist on keeping the Delta Squad around, I'd understand, but no, the Delta Squad are still there in some shape or form. Like, you have them there, but you don't develop on them. And it's not a
consensus. Sorry.
It's not a case where, it's not a case like where knowing more about them would hurt. No, I mean, as stuff like Gears of War 3 and 2 showed, it's actually pretty great when they build off of the character of these characters because they have very interesting stories to tell.
Well, yeah, that's exactly it. The consensus from I'm able to gather from what I've looked into is that, okay, yeah, Gears 4 is technically a good game. It's just not a very good Gears game in general.
Whereas
like
Gears 5 is the one
well,
where a lot of
Gears
people
5
argue it's kind of bad.
No, Gears 5 is just a terrible game in general because it's one of the most abusive games in terms of microtransactions out there. Like, it's just... The campaign is not very good, and combined with the fact that the multiplayer suffers from incredibly annoying, handled microtransactions. It's a very money-greedy game, basically. But yeah. So yeah, everybody, we'll continue on Chapter 4 in the next part.
See ya.
See ya.
See ya.